The end of an era, punctuated by shoes. The legacy of President Bush. Next on Global Pulse. A comparison of how broadcasters worldwide are covering the Bush legacy. President Bush's last visit to Iraq became a worldwide sensation after he received an Iraqi-style insult.
Bush got a size 10 reminder of his unpopularity.
Oh, who throws a shoe?
And the web has been flooded with mini-games featuring the now famous footwear attack.
Instead of shoes, Saddam Hussein's head was thrown. The Three Stooges were edited into the act.
And how did he manage to reload and launch the other shoe?
The shoe-throwing Iraqi television journalist Muntadar al-Zaidi became an instant hero, as Al Jazeera reported.
Demonstrators in Sadr City have taken to the streets in widespread support of Muntadar al-Zaidi, defending his attack on George Bush as a legitimate and entirely justifiable expression of protest. Since the incident, al-Baghdadiyya has ceased its scheduled broadcasting and is instead devoting its airtime to messages of praise from across the Arab world.
The incident and the protests that followed reflect what many people feel about the Bush presidency. During his last year in office, media worldwide have focused on the Bush legacy. France's TV5 reported on a bus tour that President Bush wouldn't care to take.
While George Bush finishes his second term, it's time for a first assessment. And it is an accusing assessment. The organizers of the Bush Legacy Tour have transformed a bus into an anti-Bush museum. Nothing, absolutely nothing is spared. The subprime crisis, the fall of the dollar, Katrina, and the subsequent humanitarian crisis. Obviously, the war in Iraq, with its 4,000 dead soldiers and a cost that rises by $5 every second.
South Korea's KBS highlighted the Bush administration's failure to denuclearize North Korea.
In 2002, after 9/11, Bush condemned North Korea as part of his morals-based diplomacy.
States like these and their terrorist allies constitute an axis of evil.
In February 2007, North Korea agreed to close the Yongbyon nuclear facility, and the U.S. promised energy support for North Korea. In 2008, North Korea destroyed a nuclear cooling tower, and in turn, the U.S. promised to take North Korea off the list of terror-supporting states. However, Bush's North Korea policy has been judged as ineffective, despite many meetings and agreements. Now that policy is coming to an end.
While Bush ducked the shoes, his administration could not duck a recent report blaming his administration for torture, according to Russia's RT.
A report by a U.S. Senate committee has accused top officials, including former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld, of responsibility for abuses at Guantanamo Bay.
This report could not have come at a worse time for George W. Bush. Right now, he's trying to convince the American people about all of the positive things that he's done in his presidency. Now, I have a few clips that I want you to see. The first clip is from about 2 years ago.
The history of the United States military is clear. Torture doesn't work.
And then the next clip is actually from 2007.
This government does not torture people.
The BBC questioned President Bush's legacy amidst the worst financial crisis in decades.
Every tenant at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue eventually ends up here, in the president's room at the National Portrait Gallery in Washington. Who knows what history will finally say about the 43rd president? Well, there is one piece of advice you'll want to take to heart. Avoid, if you can, the fate of Herbert Hoover, on whose watch the economy tanked spectacularly. Then it was the Great Depression. Today it's the housing market, the stock market, and the weak dollar. A recession, not a depression, but still George Bush's latest big headache. History will take her time to decide whether he's been a bold gambler or a rogue trader.
Maybe Bush himself summed it up best, as Jon Stewart pointed out on The Daily Show.
Welcome to my hanging.
Is it possible that his entire administration has been a setup for that joke? If it has, kudos.
For Global Pulse, this is Aaron Coker.
This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only.
Link TV is the only US network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.